like a steel cap, and my hat being violently plucked off, which was pinned to my head, whereby they tear my clothes to put on their bridle, as they called it, which was a stone weight of iron, and 3 bars of iron to put over my face, and a piece of it was put in my mouth, which was so unreasonable big a thing for that place as cannot be well related, which was locked on my head. And so I took their time with my hands bound behind me, with the stone weight of iron upon my head, and a bit in my mouth to keep me from speaking. And the mayor said he would make me an example to all that should overcome in that name. These are the words spoken by Dorothy Wool, a Quaker. She was sentenced for 3 hours to endure the Scold's bridle. Her crime? Militant, like preaching. The Scold's bridle, sometimes called a witch's bridle, a Brink's bridle, or simply Brinks, was an instrument of punishment as a form of torture and public humiliation. Though it's often associated with nagging wives, the Scold's bridle has a more complex history. In the late medieval period, a scold was defined as a woman who used harsh language or caused trouble through loud arguments, often with neighbors or authorities. There was also a male equivalent known as a berater. During the late 16th and early 17th centuries, there was a growing concern about women challenging societal norms, such as defying their husbands, rioting, and challenging religious figures. This preoccupation with women's behavior is evident in works like Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew, which follows the story of a headstrong woman named Kate, who is pursued by various suitors. Eventually, she is tamed by a man named Petruchio, who uses unconventional methods to win her over and assert his dominance. The origins of the bridle are unclear. It is believed to have originated in Europe during the Middle Ages and was used as a part of the penal system. In Scotland, it was first used as a punishment for witches in the 16th century, with the Fotard bridle being one of the most brutal examples, featuring spikes that pierced the tongue and palate. England saw its first recorded use of the bridle for scolds in the 17th century, primarily in northern towns. However, its use was illegal, even when sanctioned by manorial or church courts. The official punishment for a scold was the ducking stool, which all communities were required by law to maintain. These punishments aimed to humiliate and physically discomfort women who were seen as deviating from societal expectations. The humiliation aspect also provided a form of sexual titillation, as it compromised women's cherished reputation for modesty during that time. The emergence of the bridle in England coincided with the reign of James I, who encouraged harsh punishments for female offenders and had a strong fear of witches. There are documented cases of the bridle being used on women in Scotland during his reign. While many victims of the bridle were older women, such as widows and paupers, who were seen as a drain on the community or not under male control, there were also claims of men being bridled for various crimes. However, evidence supporting these claims is scarce, and it's more likely that the bridle was primarily a punishment for women. Being bridled was a punishment for outspoken women, and it took bravery to endure such a punishment. The bridle was an effective means of societal control, as a bridled woman would be paraded through the streets, often with broken jaws, spitting out teeth, blood, and vomit, while enduring all forms of punishment. While there are records of the use of the Scold's bridle, it is challenging to find specific names of victims, as historical documentation is limited. However, we will end here with a few notable cases. Alice Blunden from Kent, England, Joanna Horn from Abington, England, and Elizabeth Jakes from Oxford, England.